So I thought today for my daily video, I would do my vlog that is the state of the server, like a state of WoodyCraft type thing. And normally I make these unlisted and just put them on the forum, but for today I thought, you know what, why not? I'll make it today's video and see if other people find it interesting to how the server's doing. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments, just be nice. So anyway, the state of WoodyCraft. The way I do these is it's kind of like a State of the Union that the US president does. And he always starts off the same way. And the state of WoodyCraft is strong. The user base is huge. Right now, I hit like 1,300 or so on a like a weekday, which is pretty cool. Hey guys. There's these guys looking at me. It's weird to do vlogs in front of people. But yeah, so the user base is huge, it's growing. We've got a lot of active guys and a lot of new guys all the time. You can see when they log in and they're different people. We've probably had close to 400,000 different people try WoodyCraft.net by now. That's kind of a cool thing. But let's talk specifics, because I have stuff to talk about on almost every game type. Skyblock. So Skyblock has been hugely popular, more so than I realized it was going to be. And in the last couple of days, there's been lag on the server. Like, the performance has been a little bad. And the reason for that is known. It's water and lava dripping off the edge. And it put us in a funny spot. What we would do is we would go around and then we would fix people's islands so that water didn't drip off the side. And my concern was that if I told people what was causing it, if even 10% of them decided to use that as an opportunity to grief and make the server lag, then it'd be worse than people not knowing. So last night we installed a plugin, and what it does is if you make water or lava drain off the edge of your island, it tells you, your water's going to be removed. And you've got about 30 seconds to figure out if it's going to drain off the side. And if you don't fix it, then your water disappears or your lava disappears. Now, it doesn't fix the existing water sources. So my friends and I, we go around lag busting, who you're gonna call, and we clean up all the islands. So at this point, if you wanna clean up the island yourself, and that might be better for you because you get to keep your water source, etc. You might not like our stick a block of cobble decorating scheme, stick a block of cobble on your source to make it go away. You might not like that. So if you wanna clean up your island yourself, awesome. If you don't, then we'll probably come around, find you, and make it so that your island doesn't lag the server anymore. And that's good. So the bleeding is stopped. No one can make it lag anymore. We just have to go around and clean up the existing islands that drip water and lava off the side. So that's Skyblock. Factions. So I could talk about factions forever. It's probably the game mode that I personally play the most often. I don't know, I play a lot of them, but factions I spend a lot of time in. I certainly stream it the most. The MCMMO, we've been tweaking that on ice constantly, and we just got the archery to where I want it. With that, I think I can get the axes to where I want them soon, and then all the fishing's enabled now. And when we enabled fishing, people started summoning the Kraken constantly. It was a nightmare. If you spam the fishing rod in the water, then it summons the Kraken. The Kraken is a anti-AFK fishing measure, so it's supposed to come out and give you a hard time if you AFK. On our server, we've ramped it up. We made the Kraken so damn powerful, because you don't summon it by accident. You have to really spam that fishing pole. Our Kraken is so OP, it'll kill you. So if people summon the Kraken like as a joke or as a grief to make the server really noisy, those people will die. Those people will die a lot. Even with God Armor, I think our Kraken kills you in 2 hits. So don't do it. You've been warned. But MCMMO is coming. We've enabled all these things that it didn't have before. It didn't previously have fishing. It didn't previously have access for PvP. And we lowered the impact of potions. I think we're putting a cooldown on God Apples. We have all kinds of stuff. And then once we feel like ice is figured out, because we're using it as a test bed, we're copying that over to Castle. Let's talk resets, your map resets. I think I made a mistake by resetting too frequently before. Like some of my advisors, they err on the side of resetting. And like what happened with Bravo, like before we made it ice, is it was me. I changed the gunpowder sign so that instead of selling like 4 at a time, it sold 64 at a time, or something like that, 16 at a time. And it made it a lot more convenient. I did that on Castle and it worked out great. I did it on Ice and I made a mistake. And the mistake was severe enough that you could actually buy gunpowder from the shop and then sell it back to the shop at a profit. And people just did that and they became like instant millionaires and it went crazy. And my admins were like, you gotta reset this map. The economy is destroyed, etc. In hindsight, I don't think I would have done that. In hindsight, you know, maybe the people that became overnight millionaires, we could have wiped out their balance to some extent, you know, brought it back down and let it ride on. There are worse things than having people who are wealthy on your server. Yeah, I'm not going to be so quick to use the nuclear option anymore of too many cars, it's rush hour, to use the nuclear option of resetting maps when something goes wrong. You know, so what? You've got a lot of you know, emeralds in your chest or something. There's no need to wipe out the map. So you live and learn. WoodyCraft won't be resetting as frequently as before. I would like it if instead of when I reset the map and everyone's saying, "Ah, F you Woody, go to hell, I hope you die, burn in a fire, rape your family, etc." Instead of that, your reaction should be, "Oh yeah, that was about time. You know, it was good. I'm happy that we reset the server. My base was really kind of done. I was running out of things to do. Everybody else's base was so strong, they're nearly impossible to raid. You know, let's start over." I'd like it if we were at that place instead of where we were before, when the server's like 1 or 2 months old and people are still enjoying the fruits of their labor instead of bored of the fruits of their labor. So factions resets won't happen as much as they used to. Having said that, I'm sitting here in a spot. Factions Castle will be, I guess, about 3 months old when 1.7 drops. And I have to decide, do I come up with a third faction server for the 1.7 release? Because people are going to want to play that. People are going to want to see the new biomes. People are going to want to have the new blocks. People are going to be interested in 1.7. And I don't want to just upgrade and not give you new maps, right? That sucks. So what do you do with Factions Castle? You know, you can, if you're watching this off a forum post, leave a thing. If you're watching this off my video, leave a comment. I'd be interested. You know, it's generally not smart to announce resets a month in advance, and I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with Factions Castle, but I thought I'd throw it out there. Maybe we drop a third server on there, and that becomes Factions Fire or something, I'm not sure, and leave Castle around. Maybe we replace Castle. We'll see. But we have to do something in Factions that takes advantage of 1.7 and doesn't just run on 1.7, but actually, like, embraces it. So that when 1.7 comes around, WoodyCraft is worthy of WoodyCraft. WoodyCraft is the best around. So that's the thought. Colin, let's go this way. We're seeing traffic. So yeah, Factions has had a ton of updates with MCMO, with balancing, with you know, with the Factions Ice reset, and some people wondered about the Ice versus Castle, like the naming. It got to feeling like Alpha and Bravo meant like better and best. Like Alpha or Factions Bravo was our second best effort at it. It wasn't that at all. So I just changed the name so that like Castle and Ice doesn't really designate like Factions 1 and 2, and people feel like 2 is second place. Like we're just giving them descriptive names now instead of numbered or alpha names. So that's a thing. So let's see, we talked about Factions, we talked about Skyblock. Survival games. Survival games on weekends gets totally packed. You know, we recently went from 9 servers to 12, which like as a percentage is a nice increase. 12 wasn't enough. We still fill them all. So just today we went from 12 survival game servers or Hunger Game servers to 18. And that's a pretty significant jump. So this weekend you should be able to get into a game. We also increased the amount of people in the lobby. The lobby is an interesting thing. I could make an argument that the lobby is going to be less full because now more people will be in games. I could also make an argument and say the lobby is going to be more full because there'll be more, you know, games out there for them to play. So we'll wait and see how that plays out and what happens. But survival games, we just increased that. We also have a couple maps on survival games that are just about ready to go. And I've got guys working on it right now as I speak, getting that ready. And I'm looking forward to that in a really big way. So this video, I'm about to hit 10 minutes. I need to stop it and start it. It looks like my phone has like a 10-minute limit on how long a video can be. So anyway, we're adding more maps to Hunger Games, and we've added more servers to Hunger Games. We'll see if we need to redo the lobby to fit more people, because I'm not sure if adding more servers means there's less people in the lobby or more. You know, I could argue either way. So that's Skyblock, survival games, factions, creative. Creative's humming along nicely. I really like the way our creative is. If there's one thing I'd change about creative, like the number one thing is the spawn sucks. The spawn's totally not worthy of WoodyCraft. So we have builders giving that a shot, you know, giving it a go. If you want to give it a shot, you know, heck, I'll do something to make it worth your while, you know, in terms of WoodyCraft rewards. But the creative spawn right now it's not worthy. It's not good enough, and we're going to make that change. Aside from that, creative seems to hum along. The performance is always great. You know, there's 180 people on there last weekend. It's a pretty busy creative server. And the stuff you guys make, the non-sexual stuff, the non-racist stuff, it turns out really cool. Like, I'm amazed at it. Some people say that the plots could be bigger on creative, and I hear that. But then I go and see some of the plots, and they're amazing. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, you know, when you go to Sky to Bedrock and do stuff with it, there are people that blow me away with what happens on creative server. You should go on and just fly around and see what people have done with it. Where there's a Hall of Fame warp board, check some of those things out, because our creative server is really, it's not normal, it's exceptional. It's worthy of WoodyCraft, except for the spawn, which is what we did, and it sucks. But what you guys are doing is incredible. What else is there? Blocks vs. Zombies is humming along. That we have a new lobby for Blocks vs. Zombies that we need to implement, but as far as the game type goes, it's been working perfectly, and that's fantastic. I actually talked to Seth Bling. He's the guy that invented the game type, and what I'm hoping happens is he comes up with a few enhancements. We come out with a Blocks vs. Zombies 2.0, and then that, you know, that becomes a win-win for Seth and for I, and things work out really cool. So yeah, Blocks vs. Zombies is up, and that's going nice. Kit PvP, God, there's one I'm excited about. So what we did with Kit PvP is we made it, like, we have 9 donator levels, which means 10 if you include non-donators. And everyone basically goes out there with a sword and a bow, and there's 10 incrementing levels, each set of armor better than the one before it. And if you've ever tried to balance like 10 levels, they get really powerful really fast, and the server becomes a little bit pay to win, which is bad. So what we're gonna do, instead of having 10 nearly identical classes, each one getting a little better than before, catch up. What we're gonna do instead is have like groups of classes, right? You know, you could take like in terms of donator classes, since there's 9, we could maybe lump the first 3 together and say you guys have access to these classes, and the next 3, and then the next 3. And then the classes wouldn't necessarily be like 10 versions of the same thing, you know, swordsman and bowman. Maybe we have a sword class where the guy gets great armor but can't sprint. We can call it a tank. Maybe we have a sniper class where the guy gets a great bow and no armor whatsoever. He has to play a different way. Maybe we have an in-between class, you know, where the guy's mobile and has, you know, a bow and a sword, but leather armor, and you know, he's somewhat protected and he can move around and do his thing, but he'll have a hard time winning a sword fight against a tank unless he darts in and out and plays well. And we can just change the play styles and open up different kits to different levels of donators, and everyone can be competitive, everyone can win. There's just more options if you donate, and that way it's not quite as pay to win as it is today. It's just, I guess, pay for variety. You know, there has to be something that makes it run. WoodyCraft has like 13 servers now. Oh, let's talk about that. So I added 3 more servers. That's how we're able to do things like add more survival game servers, add more, you know, servers in general, add these new game types. I have a new game type I haven't told you guys and won't tell you guys about yet, but I'm super excited about it. More mini games coming your way. And paid staff. So we have Zero Errors now as our head admin, and he's been amazing. He's been amazing. Like, I don't know if you noticed, the servers have been up constantly. That's fantastic. I can sleep at night. That's fantastic. Our staff, our unpaid staff, has like tripled in size because he went through all the people on the short list, interviewed them, and got them on staff. And also Troy and Jack were in on the interview process too. So, you know, they've been just waiting to grab, you know, like a head admin, link up with them, bring on the staff, and now we have more helpers throughout the servers than we ever had before. We have triple. We have a lot more helpers to help on people. Dr. Chiz, he didn't even go through me. He asked Zero Errors, our new head admin, how do I become a mod or helper, whatever? And Zero Errors was like, yep, you're in. You know, that's it. You ask me, I make it happen. And then there were these forum threads on how much everyone was mad at me. They were all pissed at me because my friend became a helper. And all nepotism inside, butt buddy, etc., etc. And while they're right about the butt buddy thing, they were wrong. They were wrong about him getting a helper because of me. I didn't even know about it. And it was funny, Zero told me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And he starts laughing. He's like, you have no idea. You know, there were all this hate toward you about it, and you didn't even know he was a helper. That's how that went down. But I did know about this. He became helping so much, right? He's on the servers like 18 hours a day. He's helping people constantly. He's making signs. He's doing work that's not always that fun. And it was so helpful. I was like, dude, would you like to be paid staff? You know, would you like to get money for this every week? And, you know, the only real difference is that it makes me a little more comfortable asking you to do jobs that stink, like build a donator board or something like that. And he's like, yeah, get paid for something I already do. That sounds fantastic. So we've increased our paid staff who, you know, typically work longer and harder and do crappier jobs than the unpaid staff, which is fair. So now we have another guy on paid staff, and that's Dr. Chiz, and he's been fantastic. And it's like the moment he got helper, everybody hated him. And then as soon as he started helping, everybody loved him, and the whole world turned around, and Dr. Chiz became one of the most popular guys on the server. So, and then he has a benefit because he's been opt, because I know him for years and I can trust him more than I can people that I just met like this week or something. Because he has opt, he's able to do more things than the other helpers can. So it's not fair to compare them. You know, if the other helpers had opt, a lot of them would probably be just as wonderful as Dr. Chiz. But, you know, the fear is that some of them would like grief things, or, you know, when WoodyCraft was up in its first week, we opt some people that I didn't know, and it worked out terribly. So now I'm really sensitive about opting people I don't know. But Dr. Chiz I know, and he's just been using his powers for good, as you would expect. So yeah, factions, MCMMO's gotten balanced and implemented. Skyblock, lag has been addressed, and we have, you know, more work to do fixing existing islands. But the bleeding stopped, and it's getting better all the time. And you can help me by making your own lava and water not drain. Kit PvP. It's getting new maps, plural maps. It's getting new kits. It's getting new donator perks. It's getting revamped in a really big way so that Kit PvP has new life breathed into it. Creative is going to get a new spawn. Survival Games is getting new maps, and it just got 6 new servers going from 12 to 18. Survival. Oh, so a lot of people have asked for a survival reset, and that's cool. That's exciting to me because, as I mentioned at the start, I want to do resets when people are excited to get them, not mad that they got them. But I don't think now's the time. It's October, and in a month, 1.7's coming out. I think if I'm going to do any survival resets, then it should be with 1.7 and not before it, so that you guys can take advantage of the new blocks, the new biomes, and you know, all the new stuff that's coming with it. You don't want to reset now. You want to play now, and then you want to reset when 1.7 comes out. That's the way we should handle that. I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? Oh, Skywars. Oh, we have new Skywars maps that we need to drop in. They're built, they're ready to go. Making Skywars is kind of tricky. Like, I don't know how to do it, but I do know that you have to set the spawn points for each of the islands. You have to set the, you know, what's in the chest. You have to, like, it's not as simple as just dropping a new map in. There are a million little things on how to make it work. And since Zero Errors wrote that plugin, he's the guy that needs to, you know, add the new maps. But we have one map that I know of that's ready to go, possibly 2. And then, you know, Skywars fills up every weekend all the way. We get like 300 players in it. So I would love to give those guys more maps and, you know, have some variety that you didn't have before, because there's just 2 maps now. Why not double that? I think that would be awesome. So so that is the state of WoodyCraft. There is a ton going on. It's every day it gets better. Iterative refinement. Never stop. Keep